From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
This is how the day began. A Huntley family escapes flames as an early morning blaze rages through their home.
I think we have a plague. I'll just say it right now. We have a plague.
That plague, an invasion of grasshoppers calling the Magic City and Montana home. We'll tell you why. But first, as a Billings long-term care facility loses its 14th resident and Yellowstone County reports more than 500 active coronavirus cases, Montana Fair prepares to move forward. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Literally in the COVID-19 hotspot of the state tomorrow, Montana Fair 2020 is set to kick off. But there have been a lot of changes made. Q2's David J. has more from Metro Park tonight.
Jeanelle, we're out here at the Montana Fairgrounds. The Mighty Thomas Carnival is setting up right now at about 50%, may get up to about 60 by the end of the fair, and they're spread out at this time. And we did get a chance to talk with one of the commissioners about the decision that went into holding the fair.
Looking how everybody else is operating, I guess if they started shutting down Walmart and Sam's Club and Costco and things like that, that would be an indication that obviously we should be shutting down as well. That's not happening. What we're asking for is the same behavior at Montana Fair that you would do out at a grocery store or out in the community at any other event that you're doing right now.
We encourage that folks follow the lead of our employees, and they'll have masks on, and then maintain that 6-foot distance and wash your hands frequently. We've got hand washing stations throughout the fairgrounds. It shouldn't be wall-to-wall people. It can be more 6-foot to 6-foot type interactions. And the rides are spread out in space more than they've been in the past, so that there's room to negotiate your way around rides and around equipment and around games and food.
There are only 3 fairs I know of that are going on in the country along about this time. The Delaware State Fair starts, I think, July 26th, maybe 24th. The Northwest Montana Fair begins a week after ours, and then our fair beginning this week. Those are the only 3 I know of off the top of my head that are going on. So we know there's going to be a lot of attention and a lot of focus on us. We just want to show how you do a fair right.
Sneak a peek starts at 4 o'clock on Friday here at Metro Park. That's the latest from here. Jeanelle will send it back to you.
All right, thanks so much, David. Well, 4-H and FFA are also major reasons to hold the fair. Those livestock shows, however, will not be open to the public. Well, in Bighorn County, another hotbed of growing confirmed coronavirus cases. Health authorities say 4 county employees have tested positive. This news causing concern that county offices and facilities could possibly close. One of the positive tests, a detention officer at the county jail in Hardin. The other 3 work in the Road Rural Fire Department. Now, all 4 have symptoms and were in contact with confirmed coronavirus patients. In addition, 7 other county employees are now under home quarantine. So far, no inmates in the Bighorn County Detention Facility have tested positive. Well, Commissioner George Reelbird III says safety measures will be redoubled to keep facilities and the county open for business. Well, COVID-19 has claimed yet another life at Canyon Creek Memory Care in Billings. Yellowstone County health officials say a man in his 70s passed away at the long-term care facility on Tuesday. Since the facility outbreak was announced on July 6th, now 14 residents have died. To date, 96 people associated with Canyon Creek have tested positive for the virus, 56 residents and 40 staff members. Well, this latest death marks the 20th here in Yellowstone County and the 43rd across the state. Tonight, Yellowstone County has 505 confirmed active cases. Gallatin County is next with 89 and Bighorn County with 83. So far, the state has decided where 2/3 of its $1.25 million in CARES Act money will go. Well, tonight, MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison takes a closer look at the status and intended purpose of that money.
Governor Bullock said Wednesday his administration has allocated $822 million of Montana's federal CARES Act money to mitigate impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. But only about $100 million of that money has actually been distributed. The governor said 2 reasons for this gap is because the state is awaiting more information from 900 grant applicants and has had to weed out another 750 duplicate applications.
Department of Commerce moved quickly through thousands of applications while still maintaining strong verifications and internal controls. and is completely caught up with the deluge of applications.
So where's the money going? About $300 million is for local governments to cover COVID-19 related costs, but only $32 million is out the door so far. Bullock said his administration is just now reviewing a second round of local government requests. Another $125 million is set aside for loan deferments for businesses hit by the pandemic. There's also $75 million for schools to help them with reopening costs, $75 million for state government, and $40 million for mental health and substance abuse programs. These totals don't include $61 million in business stabilization grants that have already been handed out to thousands of small businesses. Republican Senate Majority Leader Fred Thomas of Stevensville says he's not impressed. He says the Bullock administration has had this money since April and should have distributed $400 to $500 million by now. As he put it, this money is not for Christmas. It's meant for the current right now economy. Yet Bullock says the money is meant to last for the entire year, and he wants the state to be able to respond to needs as they arise.
Because we know that things have rapidly changed throughout the pandemic, and it's clear that the virus is still presenting significant challenges to our health and safety, as well as our economic stability. We have to ensure that we have the resources to weather the next 6 months.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Mike. Now, it's been rough sledding in the oil patch these days. A triple whammy of sorts has turned the once booming Bakken into the Bakken Blues. Q2's Jay Cohn joins us tonight to show us how far the Bakken has bottomed out.
10,000 layoffs and more on the way. Oil production off 30% just April to May. The number of active oil rigs down 82% since January. Just some of the details in the July report from the North Dakota Department of Mineral Resources. The startling numbers come at a time when the region's oil industry is reeling. First, the pandemic crushing the worldwide demand for oil, not to mention an international price war in oil. And now a string of legal setbacks that have delayed and threatened to shut down 2 major oil pipelines. It adds up to a really bad case of the Bakken Blues. First, jobs, 10,250 layoffs as of mid-July, an estimated 20% of the state's oil and gas sector. Thousands more jobs are at risk as the Paycheck Protection Program expires. Active drilling rigs are hard to come by, only 10 working the entire state of North Dakota this month, the nationwide rig count falling for 19 straight weeks. And North Dakota's oil production now at its lowest level since 2013. In May, 858,000 barrels per day was produced. Compare that to 1.2 million a day in April. As the industry awaits federal court rulings regarding both the Dakota Access Pipeline and the long-delayed Keystone XL, experts expect a sudden surge of oil moving again by truck and rail. The Dakota Access Pipeline took 500,000 barrels a day out of the Bakken. That means 900 additional tanker cars on the rails each day. And that heightens concerns over public safety. Alan Olson with the Montana Petroleum Association says without those pipelines, Montana and North Dakota oil producers face a significant hike in transportation costs, as much as $15 a barrel. Economics that simply don't add up for oil ventures here. Olson says the big concern industry-wide is the rise in COVID-19 cases. As the cases go up, the demand for oil goes down. It's that simple. And recalling oil's big downturn in the mid-'80s, Olson told me it took the industry 20 years to recover. With that in mind, he said, we've got a long road ahead of us. In Billings, I'm Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
Thanks so much, Jay. Now, if you're looking for any good news, well, some experts feel the Bakken production numbers may have already hit bottom. They're hoping for better numbers 2 months from now when July's figures are released. Well, a Huntley family was able to escape as flames engulfed their home early this morning. The fire started just before 4:30 a.m. on the home's porch at 1052 Pryor Creek Road. The family's neighbors called 911. Warden fire officials say wind fanned the flames as they spread to the attic and caused the roof to collapse. While there is not a confirmed cause, fire officials do want to remind homeowners to avoid disposing of cigarette butts in their potted plants, as potting soil is flammable, especially when dry. Well, now turning to Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. And Bob, the threat board is filling up right now.
Let me start off right now. Let me show. We go right to the graphics, and here's what we have for you. You can see here we have two areas. One's a severe thunderstorm watch in the mountains until 9 o'clock tonight. Eastern Montana, severe thunderstorm watch there also until 9 o'clock tonight. But look at that stuff close to the Billings area. This is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. It covers Wheatland, Golden Valley, Stillwater, Sweetgrass, and now Carbon County. 60-mile-per-hour winds blowing through that area. Also a little farther to the north, you can see 60-mile-per-hour winds up there in Fergus County. But take a look. This is the thunderstorms we've been watching all day. And as you'll notice as we zoom in, these guys have been pretty big. They did have a little bit of hail in them, but the last couple of volume scans show no hail at this time. But I wouldn't be surprised to see at least some penny-sized hail. This stuff is just right on the west end of the Montana, or west end of Yellowstone County. So we'll probably see some scattered rain showers out of this guy coming in pretty quick. And we'll have more about that coming your way in a few more minutes. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, a sad and surprising announcement from MSU Billings today. MSUB Chancellor Dan Edelman is stepping down on August 4th so he can tend to a serious medical condition. Edelman has only been at the university since April 2018, but has left his mark by guiding MSUB through its strategic program alignment, leading a fundraising campaign for the Yellowstone Science and Allied Health Building, and for his work advocating for veterans. Edelman says in a statement that he will miss MSUB terribly, especially the students. Up next on tonight's Q2 530 News, grasshoppers. You might be surprised at why so many are hopping around. And also in sports, your Big Sky Conference football kickoff is underway, and Scott hears from both Jeff Choate and Bobby Howe.